The Madman!
Welcome, straight from BlizzCon. We have the latest cards from the newest set, Rastakhan's Rumble. Now let's get ready to rumble by taking a look at these first 16 cards that were revealed. Savage Striker, 2 mana 2/3 Battlecry, deal damage to an enemy minion equal to your hero's attack. So, kind of reminds me of the Flame Juggler from the Grand Tournament. It's a 2 mana card that comes with a full card effect. Amazing. You guys remember this card, right? Savagery. Wow. Now the problem is it's Savagery, which has not been very good, I guess. Can you actually gain attack efficiently? I mean, there's the hero power and there's Malfurion's hero power also. But late game, 2 mana 2/3 deal 3 is like, is that actually good enough when you have specifically played Malfurion? Probably not. So we're probably going to be looking at ways to make your hero attack. This might be a theme of the set. I mean, it would make sense in a gladiatorial combat type thing for your hero to like get in there with the hero power and then like have attack. So I think Savage Striker at the very least hints towards that there will be ways to buff your hero's attack and Druid. Spring Paw for Hunter. 1 mana drop for a 1/1 beast with Rush. Battlecry, add a 1/1 links with Rush to your hand. So this card looks really good. It's a 1/1/1 with Rush, which was like, it's almost the boar, except it doesn't charge, it has Rush instead. Bonus, it gets you another one. Looks really good, but I have problems figuring out where something like this even goes. So it has to compete with Firefly currently. So is it worth giving up the extra health in order to have Rush instead? The Hunter Quest, Toxmonger, activates Beast Synergies. So it's a little Swiss Army knife. We'll see if it works out. Hunter gets a cool card, Baited Arrow, 5 mana, deal 3 damage, overkill someone with 5/5 Devil Sword. The mechanic of overkill is if you over damage a minion, that means if the minion had 1 or 2 health in this case, and you dealt 3 damage to it, then bam, you get a 5/5 Devil Sword. In the ideal case, you are getting a 5 mana 5/5 Beast, which Battlecry deals 2 damage, and you're not always going to get that because often with Flanking Strike, you would like to hit like a big minion also, like a 6/6, because then the 3/3 can actually threaten the future 6/3. This can only be used when you're about to kill someone, which is kind of tough. But would a 5 mana 5/5 Battlecry deal 2 be played? I think it would be pretty competitive. I mean, it's 1 mana less than Fire Elemental, 1 mana more than Flame Strike for +2/+2 stats and 1 less damage. Like, that would actually be good. The problem is how often can you get it to be a 5 mana 5/5 deal 2? And it is basically a Bane of Doom also, which always gets you a 5/5. And Bane of Doom would be really strong. I think Zoo would play that if they could, but it's like a difference between Zoo and Hunter. So it might be tough fitting this one in. We'll see. Pyromaniac. Oh, that's a really efficiently statted card for Mage. 3 mana 3/4. Whenever your hero power kills a minion, draw a card. It is a 3 mana card, just like Black Cat. I created an Odd Mage deck before. This card looks like it would be really good with your hero power dealing 2 damage. So I could see some sort of Control Mage or Odd Mage, perhaps. Hexlord Malakras. 8 mana 5/5. Battlecry, add a copy of your opening hand to your hand, which might present the first card where it's genuinely good to go second, because if you go second, you have 4 cards in your opening hand. So this card will get you on average 3.5 cards. Woo! You could compare this with Ultimate Infestation if you were feeling particularly favorable in your comparisons. Since for 2 less mana, you're still getting the 5/5, you're getting like 1.5 cards less, you're not dealing 5 damage, you're not getting 5 armor, but you're also not going deeper into your deck. So for the control decks which want to grind people out, Fatigue Mage has been a deck for a while. Hexlord Malakras looks like it's great. Totally my type of value card right here. It's like Ancient of Lore, which was 7 mana, 5/5, draw 2 cards back in the day. This is now Mage, +1 mana, draw +1.5 cards, and not even draw, you like get copies of them. Pretty good. Some particularly spicy, ambitious people think it could be good in Quest Mage because you get another copy of the quest. Seems like it would be tough to be able to complete 2 copies of Quest Mage, but you don't really need a second copy because the first copy is usually enough. But yeah, if you know what you're going up against notably, you can keep a ridiculously greedy hand to be the value king. Immortal Prelate. So this card is actually just like a custom card that we reviewed a while back. A little bit weaker than the Queen's Bane card I revealed, but I did review the Queen's Bane card, which was basically a 1 mana 1/3 version of this deck, and I was like, of this card. I was like, that's a bit too strong. So this is 2 mana. I was like thinking about, is this actually potentially good? And the big enchantment that works with this right now is Spike-Ridge Steed. And I can see you playing this in Spike-Ridge Steed, and then later on Call to Armsing the Immortal Prelate out of your deck. Notably, since this card and the Steed are both even, maybe that goes into an even deck. Also, Kings is even, by the way. Note that this card says enchantments, which is unlike the other cards that have held these buffs before. So this is enchantments, which means if you buff this card with another card like Shattered Sun Cleric or Fungalmancer, I believe the card also keeps the buff. Now the bad news is, unlike Kingsbane, you can silence Immortal Prelate because you can't silence a hero. And, you know, Polymorph, Hex, etc., etc. So will this work? Well, let's see if there are any good enchantments out there. And we got that big legendary for Paladin, 25 mana, Shirvala the Tiger. 7 attack, 5 health, Divine Shield, Rush, Lifesteal, costs 1 less for each mana you've spent on spells. So the opening volley on evaluating this card is thinking, so at what mana would I like to play this card? And we do have a Gilnean Royal Guard for reference. That's an 8 mana card with Divine Shield and Rush, and it's like an 8/3 usually at the time that you want to play it. The Gilnean Royal Guard wasn't really played, but I don't think it was that far off the curve. So 8 mana is like a fair point to start thinking about like how much you would want to play it at if it were actually printed. But lifesteal is pretty big, especially with a this high in amount of attack. So I would be thinking like 9 mana, maybe even 10 mana. If you're getting any deal below that, theoretically it's good. But the problem is it's really impractical to actually play this card before turn 10. You can, it's been mathed out that you could potentially play this on 7, I believe, if you spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. But more realistically, you're going to be playing this around the turn 10 to 12 area, 13, 15. I've played a mid-range Paladin for a while. It's what I was the best at over in the days of the Grand Tournament. And you play Justicar Trueheart and you press the button and you just played like a value deck. So this is clearly meant for that card, and for that reason, I'm like, I'm optimistic about it. There's some ideas about prismatic lensing this guy, so it only costs 1 mana if you draw this card and a 5 mana spell. And also, it's really good with the Crystal Smith Kangor card, since that only costs 2 mana. You play Crystal Smith Kangor and you play Shirvala, and that's almost a full heal. It's like 14 health. Incredible. We're going to have to see what other spells come out in this set before we can make an analysis on Shirvala the Tiger. But it really inspires me, at least. Surrender the Madness. 3 mana priest spell. Destroy 3 of your mana crystals. Give all minions in your deck +2/+2. And we have to pose the question of, would you have to be a madman to play this card? I think that the answer is yes. You need to clearly play this in a zoo type priest because minions get the most benefit when you buff low cards. Not only that, you have to play this in a deck which probably doesn't run Kelesets because Priest does have a good amount of low cost, which are 2 mana. I mean, you drop back to 0 mana if you play it on turn 3, which is the turn that you want to play it on because you get the most minions buffed. So you don't want to do that because otherwise you would lose the game. If you coin it out, you do only lose 2 mana crystals. That's a value deal. Wow. I think you would also lose if you made that play in general, though. Some people are giving the idea of, like, what if it's a Control v Control matchup? And, you know, the mana crystals aren't going to matter because the game will last that long. But Control matchups generally don't run that many minions. Spirit of the Shark. Rogue, 4 mana, 0/3. Like all of the spirits, it has stealth for 1 turn. So there's going to be a cycle of these for each class. Your minions' battle cries and combos trigger twice. Note that it's minions before you, again, repeatedly say, oh, yeah, Spirit of the Shark eviscerate combo. It's a little bit like Bran, except it lasts not only the turn you play it, but also the following turn, assuming that they don't have a way to deal with a 3 health stealth minion. And dealing a 3 health stealth minion is not that easy. And it's for that reason, despite being a 4 mana 3 stat minion, that I'm like, okay, sure, maybe it has potential. It's one of the things that you have to look at the entire set and see the battle cries and the combos to see whether or not it can be used. Given the current combos and battle cries, I was not quite able to see a deck yet. No, I don't think that Pogo Rogue will work. Notable best card it seems to work with right now is Edwin Van Cleef, because that's a pretty big buff to get twice. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the other combo cards that may or may not appear in this set, but it seems like they would, given that Spirit of the Shark is printed. Also, woo, go Sharks! The Shark flavor in the set is that the rogues are dirty cheaters. Rogue also has a 6-mana spell, Cannon Barrage, deal 3 damage to a random enemy, and then repeat for each of your pirates, which means if you just have 2 pirates on the field, then you're getting Avenging Wrath. Though notably, the 3 damage can overkill the minions, which is bad. But obviously, you're not looking at this if you're only dealing, if you're only got 2 pirates out. You would be trying to get like a field of maybe 5 pirates, and then you would be able to deal 18 damage. Wow, it's kind of like Bloodlust. Except even better than Bloodlust in the case that you can play the pirates and then immediately Cannon Barrage. We're going to have to see if better pirates get printed. Not easy to evaluate this yet without seeing the other pirates that may or may not be good in the set. Rain of Toads. So people immediately compare this with Spreading Plague, and that does not compare favorably, right? No, it could compare favorably. You can just play it when you're a proactive deck. That's the big miss, and why the meme of comparing this with Spreading Plague is not quite accurate. This is more comparable to Phantom Militia in that it is total of 9 mana, get 3 2/4s, and you can play it on turn 6, and you don't have to be a control deck. You can play this proactively. And I think that even Shaman actually has a chance of playing this, because it's a lot of stats on turn 6. 6/12 in stats, with Taunt. Protect your big guys, protect your Flame Tongue Totem, protect your Primal Fin Totem. Cool ideas. Next up, Spirit of the Bat. It is Warlock's attempt to dislodge Keleseth in Zoo. 2 mana, deal 3. Stealth for 1 turn. After friendly minion dies, give a minion your hand +1/+1. Reminds me a lot of Witch's Cauldron. Also a 0/3, which benefits you when your friendly minions die. The main problem with this card is it's a 2 mana card you don't want to play on turn 2, because you want to play it after you have a bunch of trades possible. Seems pretty rough for that reason. I don't think it's quite good enough to dislodge Keleseth yet. And we kind of evaluate cards based on how they're doing now. Maybe after Keleseth there might be a reason to revisit this card, but currently I don't think so. Now a card does synergize with Hirik the Bat. So you can kind of see that there's a theme in the set where you synergize the Spirit with its Loa, and this is the combo for this deck. You are supposed to have Spirit of the Bat like shove all the buffs onto Hirik the Bat, and then Hirik the Bat will be huge. You play it like with maybe 4 buffs, and then it's like, oh wow, 8 mana, 35/35. But the problem with that is you have to do so much work to make that happen, and also, why not just play Omega Agent is the other problem. Omega Agent wasn't played, and Omega Agent is a much less committal way, and you can have 2 ways of getting Omega Agent. Instead of getting a ×7 multiplier on your buff, you get a ×3 multiplier on Omega Agent, and like that might be enough, given that Omega Agent is actually good when you play it on turn 10 with no buffs, whereas Hirik the Bat, not very good when you play it with no buffs. We'll see if you can infuse Hirik the Bat with all of your power, and if that looks like a reasonable way to go. The initial impression is no, but we'll see. This is a very exciting card that Blizzard is printing. It shows like a willingness to go into the unknown, because this is disruption. Like, wow. Void Contract, 8 mana, destroy half of each player's deck. My goodness. If you play this on turn 8 and you're up against a combo deck, presumably they've drawn a few cards, like let's say 5. So there'll be about like 16 cards into your deck. So 14 cards left. You play it on turn 8, you destroy 7 of their cards. Good chance that you're going to hit some piece of the combo. So if it's a fragile combo deck and you hit like one of their combo pieces, it's like Gnome Ferratu ×7. And we see all the Reddit posts out there with Gnome Ferratu hitting like Frostlich Jaina or Shutterwalk. 7 times more likely of hitting something. I like it. So this card is going to potentially replace the Demonic Project that's trying to like aim at combo decks, and this might be the new card to aim and kill combo decks. And also you can Blood Bloom it out early, which I think is actually legitimate. Salt Rays, 6 mana, 4/4 weapon for warriors. Again, featuring Overkill, which means if you kill a minion with less than 4 health, or if you buff the weapon and you just deal more damage on the minion's health, you can attack again. Don't look at this as just a minion clearer, though, like Fool's Bane. You can hit face with it, very importantly. And you can hit a taunt and then hit face. Prevent them from cheating. you can do something like Warpath, and then hit like 3 Spreading Plague tokens, and then hit the face also. So I think this will be more of the aggro type instead of the control type. I think Odd Warrior is going to be pretty hard to dislodge as the control deck of choice, and it's going to be hard to beat out Super Collider. But for the aggressive option, Soul Thrays might actually make the cut. Maybe the Spirit and the Loa might synergize with something like this. Maybe Overkill is like the big warrior gladiatorial theme. And finally, the only neutral revealed in this set, Sharkfin Fam, 2 mana 2/2. After your hero attacks, summon a 1/1 pirate. Looks a lot like Henchclan Thug, 3 mana 3/3. Sharkfin Fam has the downside of not being odd for the odd rogue, but maybe even rogue. Turn 1 dagger, turn 2 Sharkfin Fam. Start like really putting on this huge threat, very similar to Henchclan Thug. Big card that keeps growing out of control, similar to Henchclan. Alright, that's the card review. Initial impressions from BlizzCon, straight from it. I'm enjoying BlizzCon 2018. Hope you guys are as well. So, thanks for watching. Pointer time. Alright, that's it. That's it. Good night.